But we're gonna go ahead and get started this evening on this fabulous 5-day masterclass. This is the kickoff evening of Launchathon, how to launch your next six-figure low ticket offer. I'm Angel Tussey. I am your co-host of Launchathon with my brilliant host, Miss Melanie McSally. Melanie, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm getting excited. Like, it was Sunday night, and I don't know about any of you, like, just kind of like, okay, do I have to, one more thing and get my week started a little bit earlier, a little bit kind of dreading it. But now that we're here and you're here and we're all here, and I'm thinking about what this week is going to be and the potential and what we're going to go through, I'm actually getting excited. I'm not just saying that, like, it really just kind of kicked in. All right. Well, so I think Melanie and I didn't like rehearse this. So this is an unscripted. We did get together and create the agenda for the entire week, and we both, we put it all together, and we have our strategy plan and everything, but we didn't necessarily rehearse this. And so it's not this like fully scripted presentation. We just want to share with you this amazing opportunity to help you launch a low ticket offer, your next six-figure low ticket offer. And this is our second time going through it. We kicked this off in March, earlier this year in March, so about 7-8 months ago. Mm-hmm. We kicked it off from Mexico, which was a pretty epic place to do an event launch and a masterclass launch. And so this is our second time releasing a Launchathon, but it was so popular. As you think about growing your business, scaling it up, automating, so often we think, we need to have this high ticket offer and these big, sweeping programs and all of these elements, but really at the very core of us, helping us as small businesses create instant success, the fastest success, the quickest way to create that is truly with a low ticket item, because a low ticket item is something you can sell every day in an email, in a text message, in an ad campaign, in a Facebook post. It's something that's really quick and easy at the beginning of your sales funnel. And if created correctly and created well, you can actually create a six-figure revenue stream with a low ticket offer.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about this today. I have this saying about strainers versus funnels. So everybody knows what a marketing funnel looks like, right? It's, the funnel where you pour stuff in the top and everything comes out the bottom. And that's really the premise behind creating a marketing funnel is you have your ideal clients at the top and you funnel them through the bottom. And you move them from stage to stage to stage. So the low ticket offer is really the easy way to get them in the door. You get tons of information about them because they got to fill out the credit card form. So you can ask them all sorts of questions. They don't feel like it's intrusive. I heard Austin Walsh once say, when you do an opt-in, you don't ask for their phone number, their social security number, their address, their email address, all of this stuff. You wouldn't do that if you walked up to somebody on the street looking to take them out to dinner, right? Hey, I'm Melanie. Nice to meet you. Can I have your name, phone number, email address, and social security number? No, they would think you were weird. So why do we do this in an opt-in? But a low ticket offer allows you to actually get almost all of that information in one full swoop because they're given their credit card information. So it feels natural that you're asking for all of this extra information. So it's super easy to sell. You can really put it anywhere. We call it throwaway money, and it gets them into your castle. It gets them to open their checkbook. And we've all learned that once they're willing to buy one thing, they're willing to buy the next thing and the next thing. So we can people move them to each stage. And we're going to talk about the difference between a funnel and a strainer and when you need which.
When you need, right? I mean, so many of us have heard of the sales funnel, right? The sales process, getting people into the funnel and, so that you can sell to them. And that is really like the number one secret, right? Is getting people into your sales funnel. And a low ticket offer, especially if you hate selling, like if you don't like selling, you're not super comfortable with, or you have a higher ticket item that takes a lot of educating, maybe a lot of time having discussions with and bringing people on board with. If you have a low ticket item that you can offer pre-bigger ticket, it almost converts the sales process. It makes that next conversation, that next sales conversation so much easier. But what happens is, even if we're getting leads, we're out there networking, we're doing Facebook ads, we're doing social media, press releases, right? All of the things to meet people, LinkedIn messages, we're doing all of these things to get people into our sales funnel. But for most entrepreneurs, this is where it becomes a strainer, because we don't have a way to actually take them through to get them out as a customer, and we're losing them in the holes along the way. You guys familiar with a spaghetti strainer? You pour, it's got all those little holes all on the outsides of it, right? And so we pour, we're bringing all these great leads. We're out doing all the things, right? All the things we're supposed to be doing. We're talking about our business. We're doing a podcast. We're publishing a book. We're speaking on stages. Like, we're networking. We're doing. And we have all these followers on social media. We have all these followers on LinkedIn. We have all these views on YouTube. Like, we've done all the things, but they're not converting into customers. And so if we can take and eliminate our funnel, is really more like a strainer with our low ticket offer, then we can monetize our business even faster.
Yeah. And I would take it one step further. Not only are we not converting them into clients, we're not converting them into leads, right? Mm-hmm. So they're on your social media, but they're not technically a warm lead until you have something about them that you can communicate back to them in an automated way. So this would either be an email address if you're using email marketing, or it would be a phone number if you're using mobile marketing, or both, right? But if they're just sitting on your social media, most people do not have direct message automation, right? Because most people shy away from these bots that exist out there, and there's so many of them that are not great. So that makes sense. But if they're just connected to you on social media, they're not in your castle yet. They're not technically in your castle yet.
And that's something we're going to teach you this week. It's getting them into your sales castle so that you can nurture that relationship. And if any of you, if you're building a community, right, or you have those high ticket items that you want to sell later on down the road. So if you're building a community, put community in the chat box. And if you have high ticket items, something that is in that higher price range that takes a lot, like a bigger conversation or a bigger education. It's not as simple as, here's my item, here's my credit card. But if you're, so if you've got high ticket items, also put that in the chat box. So communities, lots of you are building communities. Great. Which is, right, we want to do that. Customers build communities, and communities create customers. It is brilliant. High ticket items. Yes, high ticket items. We need high ticket items. They're great for cash flow. We love the cash flow. And so leveraging, so number one, right, is going to be taking our funnel, or taking our strainer and ensuring that it's a funnel, and then bringing them through, leveraging that so that we can create more cash flow, higher ticket items, no more strainer.
The other reason why I love low ticket items, Angel, versus a high ticket is high touch, right? You got to spend lots of time with these people, not just in converting them, but then once you bring them on board, they really want that VIP touch, right? Mm-hmm. Because they spent a lot of money with you. So they really want that VIP touch. So high ticket, high touch, which means a lot of your time. Low ticket, no touch.
Right. Right. How many of you, like when you think about growing your business, and especially with those those higher ticket, those items, and you think about your numbers and you're like, okay, well, if I'm going to hit this revenue goal, I need to have this many clients, where that does typically mean, like Melanie was saying, you've got to schedule time with them. They're on your calendar. You're not doing any other thing because you're serving your clients. And if you can get yourself into a place where you absolutely max out your day, burn out your calendar. If you have a service that is one-on-one in providing of that service. So for example, Albert, he runs a tax office. So, there's only so many, you can only be working on, I don't know if this is actually true, but one tax return at a time, right? So there's a maximum number that you hit based on how many people. If you are a chiropractor, or, with Pamela being in, she does facials, right? And skincare. Well, you can only be working on one client at a time. At some point, if it's high touch, you max out. And for me, this happened to me about 3 years ago. I was bringing in private coaching clients. And after a certain number of private coaching clients, and for me, it got to be about 10. Like, that was a lot. That was a lot to take on. That was a lot to consume. Like, I really, I couldn't double that. And even if, at some point, even if you double this and double that, you were going to get to a place where you can't double it anymore in order to grow your revenue. With a low ticket offer, this is something that is automated. This is something that is pre-done. This is something that you create once and then you sell over and over again. And it can, it's easily sold by referrals. It's easily sold in automation. It's easily sold, but it doesn't require a discovery call. It doesn't require you getting on a phone call to serve them. Even Beverly, you're doing podcasts, right? You can only have so many people a week on your podcast. With a low ticket offer, there's no limit. There's no limit. And that's why this totally opens up to create this 6 figures, almost this like side hustle. You can still do all the other things that you're doing. This doesn't take away from that. In fact, it attracts more people to it. It doesn't take away from any of the services. In fact, it's easier to bring them in. It's not time consuming. In fact, it frees up your time. It's the most brilliant piece of the puzzle that most small business owners aren't leveraging. And it's also the kind of thing, if you've done it once, it's easy to add a second one.
Angel, what happened when you associated a low ticket item with an ad for the first time a couple of weeks ago?
Oh my gosh. I love what I call scroll money. And this is where you, where you look on your phone and you see, oh, somebody opted in and somebody bought it. Like, I used to put my phone on like airplane mode when I was traveling, and I could, do a post. And when I got, off the airplane, I un-airplane mode it. I could see, right, that, somebody had bought something. That's scroll money. Well, we ran a Facebook ad a couple weeks ago, and it was a short run ad. We were just doing a little sample test of a $97 digital offer. And it was my interview starter kit so how to do a media interview, how to get an interview, how to conduct the interview. And we ran a $12, it was $1 a day ad. So $12. And we did 3 sales with those $12. So we made $300 off of a $12 ad spend.
You keep going down. It was 4.
Oh, I do. That's right. I always forget, right? It was 4. I don't know why, right? As I told the story, right? It was 4. But how would you like to spend 12 and make 400, right? Like, that's the kind of thing that you can do. Put it on repeat, do it over and over again. And I did not have to be there present for the conversation, the sales conversation. It's not a sales call. There's no delivery of call. Like, I'm not delivering the program. It's pre-recorded. It's all done. It's all digital. And so since then, we're now running ads to it. Actually, we had stopped ads and then we're running more ads to it. But it is with a low ticket offer. And that's actually kind of on the high end of low ticket. It was a $97 item. And so you're starting to kind of like get the wheels spinning about, okay, right? There are some things like if you could tell people, like I could offer you everything you want to know instead of picking my brain, instead of me getting on a sales call with you and telling you all of my stuff, what if I could just, for $27, I could teach you everything, right? And they'd be like, sure, right? Here's this item that I've already created. It's already done. And for $27, they just go and buy it, and you are removed from the conversation. And this is what's going to help automate and scale and leverage your time. You're going to get your time back. Melanie, I should tell you, I just met a gentleman. He's coining the phrase marginaire. It's like millionaire, but with margin.
Okay.
Okay. And he's talking about when you build your business, right? The percentage between profit and revenue minus expenses is your margin, right? And how in our life, we need to build in margin, like it's our free time, our downtime. So we're not so overbooked, because if we want to go from good to great in anything, it's going to take more time. If we want to take our good relationships and make them greater, it's going to take time. If we're going to take our health from good to greater, it's going to take more time. So anything we're going to do from good to greater is going to take more time. So we need to have some more margin in our life. Having a low ticket item puts margin into your life. So if you could increase your revenue without adding any new clients to your schedule, that's the brilliance of a low ticket item. Do you guys, are you tracking with that? Does that sound yummy? Right? You're like, I want more, but there's only so many hours in the day, and I want to feed my family. I want to have relationships. I want to spend more hours, exercising, having fun, volunteering, giving back. But if I'm only bringing in high touch clients, AKA high ticket clients, it eats into the quality of lifestyle that I think as entrepreneurs we dream of, but we get if you're like me, like I'm a filler, like I fill my calendar and I stack it, and there's always more to do, and it's never enough. When we pulled back and said, let's create this low ticket item and leverage the low ticket, it's a game changer for now what's possible. Now what else is possible in how I design my life.
Yeah, when you started your goals and you realized that you needed to focus a little bit more on fun, this kind of allowed you that space to do that.
It did. It totally did, because we did. So Melanie and I started a community membership about a month ago, and it talks, holding each other accountable for our goals, and out of 7 areas, and fun was one of them. And fun was the thing that came back for me that I was not spending enough time in. And because I love to work and I love what I do. And for most of us, we do, and we love serving our clients. And this is why the low ticket offer makes even better sense, because it's a way we can sell our knowledge, not our time. We can still serve our clients. We can still give back. We can still be, when somebody says, hey, can I pick your brain? Can I learn this from you? We can still say yes, but still protect our schedule and protect our time. And it's a really easy thing to bundle in. Other people can refer it. It's super easy to buy. I was at an event. I was just at a speaking event tonight. And, at the end of the day, I came home with it's just like little lunch money cash, right? Like just here's just enough, like here's just some fun money. And then it can create lifestyle money as well. So when we start to do the math, and we'll play with that this week as we start to do some numbers, this is just going to get you all juiced up and jazzed up. But we actually, before we can go all the way to where we're going, we've got to assess and figure out where we're starting at.
Yeah. And I love what you said about sell your knowledge, not your time. In your talk that you do from stage, when you say, how would you like to impact tens, thousands, right? And I like to say, how can I make the biggest impact for the least amount of work? right? And this is kind of that. It's like, how can you make a gigantic impact? How can you reach all the corners of the globe, be international, and not be up 24/7, 365?
Right. And so, Melanie, you are a digital nomad, right?
Mhm.
For most of us, we have a home base that we work out of, even though we're virtual and geographically, we can work from anywhere. Melanie, you really do. And so having a low ticket offer, how does that impact your ability to have this lifestyle?
Well, so being a digital nomad is my side of the equation. So I can live anywhere. I can just work from my laptop no matter where. And having a low ticket offer allows me to just run it 24/7. So there's always a stream coming in, and I don't have to be the bottleneck. I don't have to say, I'm not working today because I'm flying across the country. I'm not working today because I'm out exploring. I'm not working today. I am working. I'm working 24/7, 365, but I'm not actually doing any work, you know? And, people come in through the low ticket items, and then we put them into the funnel to move them to the next phase. And we have that process automated too, so we can delegate it out to the team. So again, it's not just me. But the other side of the equation is your business being international, you being able to serve people no matter where they are. And we'll talk about that later in the week.
Okay, so if you think about what if you were going to create a low ticket offer, right, and now have this little lifestyle, this brand new lifestyle, what would your business look like? What would that lifestyle start to look like for you? How would it be different? I mean, if you think about like what's on your plate right now, like these are all the things that are on my plate. But if I was to design, right, this dream lifestyle, is it really doing more coaching calls? Is it really spending more time in front of, at your desk? Right? Is it, really what would those items, what would you want it to look like? And so we start to kind of dream about like what this would actually be and how that would make my life different if I was creating this kind of income and revenue without having to serve, to fill my schedule. Like I could have more free time. I could have more time with my family. I could go to more football games. I could go to Disneyland more often. I could go to the beach. I could travel like Melanie and be completely free of a brick and mortar. Carrie, she said, let go of my brick and mortar. Right. And so like where attention goes, energy flows. Right. And when you put it out there, people like we can't get it if we can't name it, and we can't if we can't describe it. And so having that vision of where we're going is really the key for all of this, because it's one thing to say I want a low ticket item, I want to make this new revenue, but why, and what would you do with it, and what impact would that make in your life? So I'd love to see you start to just dream a little bit about about what that lifestyle could create for you, because this truly is there's so much freedom in having a low ticket offer in your sales funnel, more so than the cash flow that comes from a super high ticket item. Living on the road, RV is my lifestyle. Beverly, I know you're already kind of living a lot of your dream. You've got freedom and flexibility in your lifestyle. And so what would, if you put an extra 6 figures, or, let's say one figure or 2 figures or 3 figures, like 4 figures, like how would that impact, your lifestyle, where you parked, when you parked, how often you parked, or.
Yeah, what's that saying? Money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys reduced stress or something like that. It's like when you have a steady stream of income coming in and you don't have to worry about it, and you're not worried about how I'm going to pay my employees, or how I'm going to pay the rent, or how I'm going to pay for X, Y, and Z, then you have less stress and you can focus more on scaling. You can focus more on fun. You can focus more on designing that perfect life for you, because you're not stuck in this worry, right? So it might not buy happiness, but it definitely reduces stress so that you can focus on creating even more. And that's why we see the wealthy getting more wealthy, right? Is because they don't have to worry about money. So they're focused on making money, right? Or they're focused on making their big impact, or they're focused on their amazing life.
Right. So you guys have some great answers, right? Living or making money during the tax season on autopilot. Albert, I know that is your dream. And he just launched
and
his.
my biggest thing, because
Yeah.
remember, statistically, November, December, I'm like, pretty much the office is dead.
Yeah.
And then that's when you say stress is, I save money, but making things work to get to January 15th. That's why I always kept pushing and swinging, because that's the end game for me.
Yeah, you have a very specific time frame, right? Because come January 15th, his
Turns
tax
on.
office, he's like completely consumed in that. And so he has this, it's almost like a school year. And when we have deadlines and senses of urgency, it does light a fire under us in a way that, I think the greatest myth is that there's time, like we can always do it later. But if we were to say, in today, right, 1 year from today, November 2022, I will have, like, what will you create this year? What will this next year bring for you that gets you closer to that big dream and goal that you want? Beverly says a lot of low ticket offers could lead to freedom financially, keep me moving all the time. And then of course, leading to your 3 to 7 day workshops. Absolutely. That's the perfect, like, linear thing, right? Samuel says I'd be able to set aside days for writing my books and catching up more with friends. Like, doesn't that just sound like I want to just spend my days writing and catching up with friends? Chelsea, we're glad you're here. We're just dreaming about if you started to do the math, like how many low ticket items, like if you had a $25 item and it was selling, right? And you were helping to, and this is our hashtag fund the life, right? So if you hashtag fund the life, right? If there's, a bill you want to pay, and something you want to purchase, a lifestyle you want to create, like what is that dollar amount? And how many of these $25, if you were to divide that up, how many would that take? And you can start to kind of see, like, that's not so bad. Like, that's not such a big number. And you can really start to see how it can snowball and get you to the life of your dreams and create this lifestyle that really, as entrepreneurs, this is why we got in business, was to create this lifestyle.
Yeah. So, okay. So now you have your future state. You have this big dream. You have this ideal life. You have this blue sky scenario. Okay. So now we know the future. We need to know the present. So we need to kind of take an assessment of where we are right here, right now, so we can know how to get from A to B. So the first thing we're going to have you do is we're going to have you look at various things that feed into what you need for a low ticket item. So like a year ago now, I think I did this talk on one of Angel's stages about find the missing leads. You ever heard, like, find the money, go out and find money that you have somewhere that you didn't know existed. Now we're going to find the leads. So tonight for homework, we don't want you to do this right now because we want you to stay engaged with us and learn all the rest there is to learn for tonight's class. But we want to take some notes on this to go out and find where your leads are, so you can get an assessment of how many you have in your castle. So you have your database, right? Whether it's an Excel spreadsheet or an official CRM system, you have your database. That's a number. Great. You're capturing leads in other ways. You have people on social media. How many connections do you have on each of the social medias? Go to LinkedIn, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to Pinterest, go to all the places. How many connections do you have? Even though they're not in your castle yet, you are still connected to them. You could still influence them. What are all the other ways that you're communicating with people, or you have a connection to people in some way, shape, or form? You have credit card processing systems. You might have membership systems or course management systems. You might have places where people can schedule time with you. You might have applications or networking that you're a member of that that you could leverage. What are some other things, Angel? Meetup, Eventbrite.
Yeah. So if you guys, like, where are you collecting leads kind of now? Like for me, I had an Eventbrite list, right? From all the Eventbrite events that I had. So I had, emails and lists over in Eventbrite. I also had in my Square account, right? For anybody who'd ever purchased from me, in Square, I had a whole list of customers in my Square. On my Calendly link, right? Or my Acuity scheduling link, I had a whole list of emails there when you signed up on Teachable for the freebie. And so where do you have emails, contact information that maybe it's, not all in one place, but when I did this exercise with Melanie and I started, okay, I've got a list here and I got a list there and I got people here. And it was all just like manually me trying to keep up with. I think we had almost 1,000 addresses that I could add to my actual CRM. So I had a CRM site where I was sending out emails, right, to my large list, but I had almost 1,000 of them in all these other places. And so number one, right, like let's collect up all of your leads. Number two, like how many people are following you on your social media sites? So what social media sites are you on? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Twitter? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? And how many people are you connected to and following you? Do you have a Facebook profile and a page and a group? And so your homework tonight is really to assess, like, what do I actually currently have access to? Where are all my people? Where are all my followers? So that we can start to develop, like, see where the strainer holes, like really each one of these is like one of the little strainer holes, because it's not all leading into one sales castle.
Yeah, so I did this exercise with people, and I had them guess how many leads they had at the beginning, like how many people are in your database. So if somebody said, tell me the size of your email list, what would it be? And lots of people said none, 200, 300. They were lower numbers, right? We went through this list. And when you actually think about all the people associated with you on social media, as well as all of these other tools, and you might be using tools like Banner Season or Mailbox Pro, you might be using opt-ins like mobile and email. So you might have things in different places on those fronts. And you think about your networking groups, you think about your phone, and all the groups that you have in your message system and your WhatsApp, like all your alumni associations, all of these things. If you think about, what was the other one I was going to say? But anyway, so WhatsApp is the biggest one, right? Like alumni groups, networking groups, all these things. People went from 0 to like 10,000. Right? And you might not be able to email all of them today, but you're connected with them. And there is ways to get those groups into your email list. Oh, email is the actual other one I was going to think of. Is so many times like people will email me because they heard about me from somewhere else, and they'll just ask me a simple question that I'll reply to. So technically they haven't gone into my opt-ins, but they're in my email account. So they're in my contacts address book. right? And so there's ways to collect all of these. And so you'd be surprised. You might think you're at 0 or at 200, and you could be at 10,000. That's a big swing.
Right. And so, yeah, if you're guessing, right, if you're like me, I had no idea, but these are like your Christmas card list and in your phone, like we have all these resources. And even on social media, those followers, we can tap into those followers. We're not going to download, right, scrape their email addresses, but all of the groups that you are in, right? How many different Facebook groups are you in? How many different Clubhouse groups? How many different meetup groups? How often are you going to Eventbrite classes? We are uber busy, right? And we are connected to so many people. And so that's like, where are we starting from? Like, we want to know what our base level is so that we can track it, right? You can't measure what you don't track. And so we want to be able to measure this and to see the growth and to see how exponentially and like, you know, where is it growing and where are we seeing the most of it? So gathering, right? And this is your homework. So what we want you to do is I want you to take a piece of paper and write down, like, these are all the different resources that I'm currently using now. These are the groups I'm on. These are the social media sites. And this is how many people are here. And you're just going to take a snapshot and share it with us for your homework tomorrow, right? That you have overnight until tomorrow, so that you can just really count it all, right? Count it all up. And then I also want you to Google your name. And when you Google your name, how many of you ever Google your name? Right? Like on a regular basis, like it's kind of fun to see, right? And if you were to Google your name, what is the number of results that show up now when you Google your name? And it doesn't have to be like something real fancy. I had over 9 pages, right? So you just write down what your number is so that you've got a starting point. Because if we're going to create some publicity around this, we're going to start to create this, you know, funnel instead of strainer. Again, we just want to have a snapshot. How many of you have ever done any, you know, any dieting or any workout programs, like where you've had to, holy cow, Albert, holy cow, that's a huge number. But if you've ever done any dieting or workouts, right, they always have you at the beginning take your measurements and take your before pictures. And why do they have you do that? Because we can't really see it. We're like, it's not really growing. Like, you know, it doesn't seem like there's any significant changes that are happening. We can't see it. And so if you look at your social media, right, and you're at whatever your number is, even if it's growing, you know, if it grew by 300 people or 10% or 30%, because it's kind of just incremental, we don't really notice the change. And so we're like, that thing didn't work. Or if you ever, ladies, if you've ever tried like a new face cream, right? Like, you know, and they always tell you to take the picture, your before picture, because you're like, yeah, it's the same. Like, my face looks exactly the same. And then you look at, you know, 2 weeks later and you're like, oh, my dark spots are lighter, like my wrinkles seem a little less, like there was a change. My skin looks brighter. And in the after pictures, right, I didn't really, you know, if I got on the scale, I didn't lose any weight, but yet my pants fit a little different. And we can see that in the pictures. And so this is your before picture, right? So think of this as like, this is where I'm starting at, and zero judgment. Like, it doesn't matter like where you're at. Your number might be 10, it might be 100, it might be 25,100,000, like, great. I mean, it might be way up there, but we've got to know, like, what are we working with to start with, so that we can measure it and see where we end up, you know, down the road, and we can track it as we go. Yeah, over 9 pages. Yes.
This is Sam. I was just going to ask on the homework part, just to be clear, when we are counting our numbers of contacts that we have, when we go through, we have some of mine, I have agencies and organizations are part of that list. So are we counting just the individuals in terms of the various contacts that we have? Or are we including those agencies and organizations that also have their emails or their,
Do
If
you, or I'll let Melanie answer that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you have access to the email, if you're allowed to email those people, count them.
the agency itself? So if it's agency ABC, that's one of the members on my list there.
Yeah.
Their email.
If you're allowed to email them, if you're allowed to send them emails to market to them, then you should include them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
If
you.
you're not, so if you're members of Facebook groups and those Facebook groups are owned by other people and they don't allow you, like you haven't paid to be a VIP member and you're not allowed to market them, I wouldn't count them because you can only give your website once in a while and the chances that you'll convert off of that are lower. So I wouldn't count those. But if you own the list or if you're allowed to market to the list, I would count the number of people on that list.
So if it's XYZ Alumni Association and I'm allowed to market to that, I can count that as one.
Yep.
Okay. All
You
right.
can
Thank
count
you.
that as how many people are on it. So if there's 10,000 people on it, you count 10,000, not one.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So like, for example, right. I was I used to be a member of a chamber of commerce, right? And it had a certain number of people. Well, I was allowed to market to that entire list. But now I'm in some Facebook groups that, you can't do self-promotion unless it's on a certain day and there's everybody. So, so there are some times where we have more access. But if you are in a group and you're like, I'm actually in this group that has 10,000 people in it, well, now we can start to leverage that. I would only just say I'm in the group, right? But now how do we start to leverage those relationships and that connection? And again, this low ticket item can really be, it's not so salesy, right? Like, it's like, here's just this simple little thing that we put together. And nobody feels like, do you ever feel like if somebody comes and tells you they've got a $25 item, do you feel like, oh my gosh, they're just trying to sell me all the time? No, it completely takes away. Even if you went to a speaking event and every speaker up there said, I've got a $25 item, would you walk away at the end of the event going, oh my gosh, it was just such a sales pitch? No, where it turns into that is when they're selling $1,000 items like time after time. And, and it's a 15-minute pitch out of their talk because they've got to spend the time, telling about, the bonuses and here's the extras. And if you take action now, like it takes this whole thing. But for a $25 item, like, look, you guys, I have this really, really awesome set of, magic markers that, are, I don't know. There's probably not going to be one for 25, but if I just tell you and you want it, like, it's not that big of a deal. And so it's an easy thing, even sometimes in some of these groups that we're not quite having access to sell. Sometimes there's still an attraction thing, or even if we're doing Facebook ads to that group to get ourselves in front of it. So
yeah, I remember when I was on a stage, I had $1,000 products and everybody else that was at that expo also had $1,000 to a $5,000 product. And I remember standing in front of the room, and for me, it doesn't feel authentic to sell from the front of the room because there's information that I need in order to be able to work with people one-on-one. And so I probably wasn't selling it very strongly. But anyway, so I was selling from the front of the room this $1,000 product. But then I had a membership system, and it was $19 a month, and you had access to all of my tips and tricks, and I loaded new ones every month, and every single person in the room signed up. And the thing is your low ticket item is not just a good, yes, work with me product. It's also a great no product. It's also a great, like, oh, I'm not sure about you yet product, or I need to learn more about you product, or or on your side, I'm not sure you're the right customer for me. Try this thing out over here instead. So it's a great no product as well as a yes product.
Yeah. Have any of you ever wanted to say no? to a client, like somebody approaching you and you're like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be a really great fit, right? And so this is where this low ticket item, like that's like, you can still say, yes, here, I've got this item, right? And this is what you sell to them. And it doesn't put them in your calendar. It doesn't put them really deeply into your sales funnel. And people want to pick your brain, people who are not a good fit. It's easy. It just becomes this great, it's your yes product and it's your no product. And I think when Melanie said that, it was like, thank you, right? Now we have a way that we can serve people without having to serve people.
Yeah. So we have a couple more things that we want you to assess. One of them we want to explain a little bit, and the rest we're just going to kind of list out for you. So a lot of you are doing referrals and you're getting paid commissions on those referrals. And we just did this exercise a little while ago, and here's where you actually get to find the money. So how many of you are doing referrals, you're getting paid commission on those referrals, and they're going into a wallet somewhere? It could be PayPal, it could be a bank account, it could be a credit card, it could be an official wallet, it could be an affiliate marketing account. So you want to know, you want to go out and see all the people, all the tools, all the products and services that you are referring, that you're getting paid commission on. Go see where that money is, and do you have it funneling into your bank account?
Yeah, this is, ask us how we know kind of lesson. With Mailbox Power, they put your money on a hyper wallet with so many of these other programs, like they put your money in these other little accounts. And so we just did a whole little financial summit where we were like, where's all of my money? Right? I've got monies here, I've got monies there. And it starts to feel like, well, this is kind of fun, right? Like, oh, this company has, because I've been referring to them. I know, Melanie, you did this like at the end of last year, like, where's all my money? Why am I not seeing a check from this? Do you remember that?
Yeah, so I had this one account, and it was actually set up to go to my PayPal account. No, sorry, my bank account, but it wasn't funneling in. So the first step was I hadn't filled out the W-9. So that was step one. So I did that. And still the money didn't funnel in. So I wrote to them and I was like, well, what's going on? And they said, oh, the bank side is broken. You got to hook up your PayPal account. So I hook up my PayPal account, and $4,000. That's how much they owed me. It was $3,800. So in 1 month, in one commission check, I got $3,800.
So we want you to go and see if there's like any untapped monies, right? Affiliate fees, little e-wallets, your PayPals, right? Places that little pockets of money might be sitting in, because this is just a really fun exercise to we need to stay on top of some of these things. It's really easy to just kind of have and set up all these little accounts and all these little social medias and join all these groups, and we're just doing, right? And we're just doing. So if we can have like a one place where, okay, I went and I found like, these are all my accounts. And while you're looking up your accounts, do you have your passwords to these accounts? Can you log into them? Do you remember how to get into them? Because we're going to be using them. And so these are all the places I have an account. These are now all the places I'm collecting money. All my little, do you have a Square? Do you have a Stripe? Do you have a PayPal? Do you have money in Eventbrite? All these other places that start to collect money. And do you have it all funneled into an account, or they're sitting in pockets? So it's assessment and research, and let's all collect. These are my accounts. This is how I log into them. These are how many people are following me here. These are, if I haven't set up this wallet to actually transfer into my bank account, I'm going to do that this week, so that you just have a nice like before picture. And our before picture isn't always our prettiest, right? Like, just remember that. There's wrinkles. There's some little extra pudge, right? Like our skin looks icky. Right? It's okay if it's not a pretty picture. It doesn't, no judgment about what the before picture is, because we all know what the after, right? We're designing what our after picture is going to look like.
Yeah. I mean, you can't make progress, or you can't know how much progress you've made if you don't know what your current state is. So honestly, no judgment zone. You know, when Angel and I started working out 7 months ago, and we took our measurements, we took our pictures, we laugh about them all now, but I looked at them, it was 2 weeks ago, I think it was exactly 7 months. And I looked at them and I swear I have lost a small child, but I would never have known that if we didn't take the before. And yes, I look back at those pictures and I think, man, I ate a whale back then, but I can laugh about it now because I'm in such a better state now, right? And so don't judge yourself. This is just a baseline. We can only go up from here no matter where you are. And if you're already up here, you can still go up. That's the amazing thing about elevation, is that there's always a higher state that you can achieve. Okay, so we talked about leads, we talked about commission, we talked about making sure your bank accounts are all hooked up to everything. And what a great time to find extra money right around Christmas time, right? Or the holidays, I should say. Your revenue streams, like you just, jot them all down so you know what they are, where they're coming from, what your monthly expenses are, how many paying clients you have, and at what level are they? Are they high touch and high ticket? Are they no touch, low ticket? And how many in each of those? As Angel said earlier, your search results in Google. And then you just want to sort of give yourself a letter grade, right? Like where do I feel like I'm at versus where would I want to be? Like if I look at this and I compare it to my vision of where I want to be in the future, what's that gap? What's that gap analysis? Do you think you're going 2 letters, 3 letters, 4 letters? Because we just want to know, like, when we got to know the numbers in order to hit the numbers, right?
And so, I mean, we're probably like, we're not slackers, right? We haven't been sitting around doing nothing. We've all been creating some amazing things. But what this is just going to help us to do is streamline it. We want to bring it all into one beautiful funnel so that we can streamline it. We can streamline your life, streamline the revenue, and really push people through that funnel faster and more efficiently. When we know where they're coming from, we know where we're leading them to, and with a really simple sales process with this low ticket offer. So it was just, so much of what, when we, anytime we're all working with our clients, right? Most of us will have our clients like, where are you at right now? What are we dealing with? Right? Because we can't fix it if we don't really know which pieces are broken, right? Or what really needs most of our attention. Now, which plants need more watering versus don't. And, well, how many plants do we even have, right? So it's just a fabulous starting point. And so take your measurements, take your pictures, figure out what you have to work with, because now, and if you have already a low ticket item, do you have, like Melanie said, those high touch, those high ticket items that are in your funnel? So that way we make sure that everything is feeding into the next, just to keep it super simple, to keep, help you to design that ideal life and to be the fabulous, live that fabulous entrepreneurial lifestyle or small business lifestyle that you wrote down at the very beginning when you wrote down your vision for your business.
Nice. So I'm so excited that we're like on schedule and on time.
On time. Comments or questions about your assessment, your before picture, your before measurements?
This is Sam again. Greetings to you. Thank you all both for sharing this information. I wanted to make sure overall that it's the right piece that I have. I'm similar to, I guess, like Albert, where my business provides a service. So I do training and education. So I'm thinking in terms of, as you all were mentioning, the low cost products and things like that. But if it's a service, and I think Melanie may have touched on a little bit in terms of designing, we should create something that's maybe a simple, it could be a video clip or something like that. that could be marketed? Because when you talk about a low income item, since it's not a physical project and most of the work that we do is training, is that kind of the thing that we're looking at for those of us who don't have physical products that we are marketing?
Yeah, I mean, most of the people on this call are service-based business. And we're going to talk about later in the week, we're going to talk specifically about options for what your low ticket could be.
Okay.
And we have a number of them. And we have, the spectrum of easy to more complicated for what you could offer. So you don't have to have a low ticket now. We're just saying, if you do have one, how many customers do you have that are buying it? Especially if it's one of those recurring revenue kinds of things. So this is just to sort of capture data. Do you have them? How many do you have? And do you have people buying them?
Okay, so we'll get to the low ticket items later on then.
We'll get to the examples later. Yeah.
Okay. All
Tomorrow
right.
we're going to talk about the customer journey, about how we get them in, what they're buying, and the different things that they can be buying with you. And so, that'll be, that whole journey that your customer takes into from low ticket to high ticket tomorrow.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about how to make it more efficient. So I like to call it the people mover, like keep them going, right? Because a lot of times we have opt-ins or we have low ticket items and we don't have any progression to get them to the next step. So they buy something and then we stop talking to them. Or we might be communicating with them through email marketing or social media engagement, but we're not actually pushing them towards buying something else or engaging with us in a different way. So tomorrow, that's what we're going to talk about, that whole journey, how to make that really efficient and keep people moving from step to step to step. But we're also going to talk about the strainer a little bit more, because there are times when you don't actually want people to keep going.
That is true. That is true.
What-
Which is like
What
having
time
this no
tomorrow?
offer.
Is it going to be 6 o'clock every day?
Yep. Consistency, Albert, consistency.
And I'm going to be like busy. Well, Tuesday's my class, but on the other days I'm not here. I'm actually someplace else. Is it going to be recorded, or I can just like ask you the short part later?
We're going to record them,
Okay.
or we are recording them, I should say. Awesome. Are there any more questions? Everybody's clear on their homework? We are going to have a check-in tomorrow, just so you know.
Yeah, I want to see your worksheets tomorrow, right? Like we figured this out, right? And for some of you, it'll be a surprise, right? Like I didn't realize this. I haven't been checking on this. So for some of it, right? Some of you are totally on top of this. And so now we know, like, this is our starting point and this is where we're going to go.
You might be at that, oh no, I'm not putting another pound on my body weight. What did we call it, Angel? My oh no.
Yeah, we both had hit like, when we started working out, it was, we had hit this weight that it was like,
Oh no.
like not like refusing to hit the next number, right? Like it was just our I can't remember what we called it now, but it was we were in panic mode.
Yeah. Oh no, you don't. So you might be at that stage. You might look at the numbers and think, oh, well, this is why I'm so stressed out every month. But that's awesome, right? Like I remember a few months into the pandemic, I got to this point and I was like, I want to do X, and I'm not there yet. And you just need a friend to like point out the obvious to you sometimes. And Angel was like, well, what do you need? Like, what is the exact number you need? And then what will it take to get there? And that's all you need to do, is you just need to see the state you're at, because once you know the state you're at, you can change it. But if you don't know, you don't know what to change.
Yep. Okay. So the homework, for anybody who's questioning, like we're gathering all the different places that you collect contacts. So your emails, your email list, Eventbrite, your calendar link. I'm trying to think. So I had my Teachable, I had my Eventbrite, I had, all my contacts and all the different platforms that I was using. And so we want to see like how many you have on all the different places. So for me, I had my CRM, I had Eventbrite, I had Square had a list, Teachable had its own, my calendar had its own, like there were all these different places that I had email lists, right? Like contact lists. And so we want to make sure that we've kind of got an assessment of all the different places that you're collecting leads, all the different places you're collecting commissions. Right? Do you have a Stripe account? Are there funds sitting in an e-wallet, on a PayPal? Like little commission checks that are affiliate checks and little pockets of money that you might not have completely set up. I had an e-wallet the other day that I had not completely set up, and it's kind of embarrassing, but kind of cool. Like there's little hidden pockets of money. And where are all your revenue streams coming in? Do you have JV partners? Do you have your courses or programs set up in different places? And so we're just taking a whole nice little like before picture of where am I to start with, and if you need to look up all of your logins and your passwords for some of these social sites, you haven't logged in for a while. When you Google search your name, what's the number? What's the number that has that comes up right now for Albert? He's way up there. Most of us don't have as many commas and zeros. So we just want to know as we start to create some more visibility, how that number goes up. And so all of that. Does that help?
Was this helpful? Did you find it useful?
Yeah, the before picture is not favorite part, right? Not favorite part, but totally necessary to create the success of where we're going so we can see the results even clearer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you put into Waze, so today, this happened to me today. I put into Waze, I was out on a run, got into my car, wanted to go to the grocery store. So I put it into Waze because I couldn't remember, do I take a left or do I take a right? I don't know how far I am down the street. And it calculated it. It thought I was back home. So it calculated it back from my house, which was not helpful at all because I was not sure if I should go left or right. And now I really didn't know. And so this is that, right? It's like setting an accurate starting point so you know whether to take a right or a left, and you know how much distance you need to go in order to hit your goal. It's really important. It's the point.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're talking about the whole customer journey, that process, moving people through, starting with the low ticket and where they're going to go into the process. And so this is very exciting. And all week long, right, we're going to be helping you to get this low ticket offer off the ground. So we want to say thank you so much for being here. It was fabulous. We want to see your homework tomorrow. Same link that you used today, or we do have a brand new Eventbrite set up and you can register tomorrow, but you don't have to register all 5 days. You can just use the same link. If you go to this little green check mark that you see right to the left side of your screen, if you click on that, you can copy the invite link and you can use that for all 5 days this week. Oh, and Melanie put it in the chat box for you.
Yep. So at the bottom right-hand corner of the chat window, you'll see 3 little dots. We call this a Twinkie. If you just click on it, and then you can click, you can click save chat at the top, and that will save all of these links as well as the homework notes. So you'll have them for later.
All right, Launchathoners, we're going to launch. That's day 1, 4 days left. And we will
Just want to say thank you all for coming. Such a pleasure to hear all of your accomplishments and where you're at, and yeah, the engagement has been amazing. So thank you all for being here and for playing with us.
Yep. All right. Cheers, everybody. Good night.
Bye.